volume. For those of you who haven't seen that before, I've got to make sure that is working. And there I've got sound on the stream. And in a moment, this one should come up and confirm that I'm actually coming through on YouTube. And then I'll start telling you what this video is about. I can see that screen as I'm watching this monitor. There it goes. Okay, so there's that volume. Yep, the audio is working. All right, so now we've got a live stream going. So this video is about how to recognize a scam email. And this was sent to me yesterday by Jeannie. I think, did I see that this morning? Yeah, I only saw it this morning. Jeannie has done a support session with me before that was intended for YouTube, but she's not published yet. She's not going to be actually on a Zoom call during this stream, but she probably will be in the future. Jeannie is a longtime friend, and she also pays for my computer support work. And when I started doing these YouTube videos, I offered her the opportunity to get free support if she would come on Zoom with me. So she said yes to that. But the one that I think we've only done one, and there's a technical problem with it, so I couldn't publish it. So anyway, Jeannie, this one's for you. I already replied to her telling her that this email is a scam. But I figured this is a good opportunity to show other people how to recognize a scam email. Now I'm going to do this in two parts. This video I'm just going to deal with how to recognize an email as a scam email. And then I want to do another video. It could be later today, probably not. It might be in the next day or two. I want to dig deeper into it and show more detail about it and deconstruct it, or post-mortem, what was the other one? Forensics. Look at it to see what it does, and get a little bit of a handle on what the scammer is trying to accomplish, because that information is here and we can see it. So here I'm going to switch over to the email. So it's from my friend Jeannie Nelson. Doug, can you explain this? Is it a scam? So right here where it says original message, this is the part that she received. So it gives a from address, a to address, a date, and the subject line. And then here's the body of that email all the way down to here. And then this line represents the end of that email. And this part here, she's telling me that this email was sent to her Comcast account. So first of all, you should know, everybody should know, do not click on a link inside of an email unless you have high level confidence that it is not a scam and that it is valid. For instance, sometimes I send people that I know emails of my YouTube videos. They can click on the link and go see the video. How do they know that that email really came from me and that link is legitimately a YouTube video? Well, the way to do that is to float the mouse over the link and see that little message in the bottom left corner. Now it's really tiny down there in the bottom left corner. I'm going to move the mouse away from that link and back to it. And you can see that little indicator in the bottom left corner blinking on and off. So you float the mouse over it. Now in the case of me sending an email to an acquaintance with YouTube links, when you float the mouse over that, you'll see the YouTube address in that pop-up message in the bottom left corner. Now this email is claiming to be from Comcast. So if this is legitimate, we'd expect that URL, which is that coded stuff in the bottom left corner, to have some kind of indication of Comcast or Xfinity. Those are two domain names for the same company, but it does not. It indicates zfrmz.com. Very strange looking address, does not look legitimate. Indeed, it is not legitimate for Comcast. In the deep dive video that I want to do later, I'm going to show you exactly what that address is, which is going to reveal what the scam artist is trying to accomplish. But let's look at the evidence here a little bit more. Many times you can recognize a scam email just by virtue of spelling and grammar errors. This email is really written pretty good, much better than many of the scam emails that I've seen. And when I'm trying to evaluate whether it has grammatical errors or spelling errors, what I do is I actually read it out loud to myself. Because if I just read it without speaking out loud, there's a tendency to see what you expect to see. But if you read it out loud, it's easier to catch grammar errors. So this says, your mailbox account failed to sync and returned 18 incoming emails. Synchronization was unsuccessful because your mailbox could not be validated. Now there's no spelling errors there, and there's no grammar errors there. And from a technician's point of view, that's believable that Comcast could have sent that. However, it is not believable that they would put a link that's wanting you to check your mail from a link in this email. If they want you to check your email, they'll just say, go check your email. They don't have to give a link for it. Now, just at this point, by seeing this, my suspicion, the yellow flags that were going up for me, is that if you click on this link, it's probably going to ask you to put in your email address and your password. And that's what the scam artist is actually after. In the second video, I'm going to show how they actually accomplish that. Now, but let's look first at some other clues in this email to identify it as a scam. Looking up here, from, who is this coming from? It's coming from operating service. That doesn't sound believable that Comcast would have a department or a person within their office called operating service. And then here the web address that it's coming from. This is the biggest red flag, bright red flag in this email, because it's saying that it's coming from an email address of webonweb99@hotmail.com. Hotmail is a Microsoft-owned property, not a Comcast property. But Hotmail itself has a very generic email address. People can make up email addresses that say @hotmail.com all day long. They could make up addresses for @outlook.com or even @comcast.net. They could make up an address. So this scam artist, if we're going to call him an artist, that word's kind of generous, because that is a really glaring error there. Now, what the scammer did to try to give themselves a little bit of credibility is they put in a couple Xfinity addresses here. Well, an Xfinity address and a Comcast address on the to line. Who is this email going to? Well, it went to my friend Jeannie, but notice this, her email address is not even on the to line. This email was sent to reply@emails.xfinity.com and Xfinity no reply at comcast.com. Now, you might have looked at this to line and thought that there were 4 addresses here. There are not. There's only 2. Notice this comma right here. That comma, trying to highlight it right there, separates the 2 email addresses. So what this part over here within quotes, that would typically be a person's name rather than looking like an email address. But notice this reply@emails.xfinity.com is exactly the same as this one, where it's between the 2 angle brackets. less than sign and the greater than sign, I'll call them angle brackets. So this is essentially the person's name, and this is the email address. This is another person's name and their email address. So this email was actually sent to two email addresses, Xfinity.com and Comcast.com. Well, a scammer is trying to make themselves look legitimate by having an actual Xfinity address and Comcast address. But this one, Xfinity no reply, that address is legitimately belongs to Comcast, and that's when they send email messages out to people and they want to communicate, you should not reply to this email address because we don't monitor that account. And this one over here says reply at emails.xfinity.com, implying that that is a valid address to reply to. It sounds a little odd that they chose to use that one, because that makes me think that all these scam emails that were sent out are actually arriving in an email account that is monitored by Xfinity. Well, I'm going to take a closer look at that in the next video. I'm interested in finding out, is that actually a functional email address? And the way I'll check on that is I'll just try to send an email directly to that address and see if I can identify that. And there's a couple other things that I'll do with that to dig deeper in the deep dive. In the deep dive, I'll actually be looking at the HTML code that's behind this email address and look at some interesting things that are found in that code. Now, you might be wondering at this point, how did this email even get to Jeannie? It doesn't have her email address in the to line. Well, the answer to that would be that the scammer included Jeannie's email on the blind carbon copy line. It's a BCC line. Any email program, you should be able to put an address in the BCC line. It's blind carbon copy. What blind carbon copy means is any addresses you put in that line, the person that belongs to that email address, they'll receive the email along with everybody else, but no one else can see that you sent it to that person. So if somebody at Xfinity does look at this email, they won't be able to tell who else this message was sent to. Now, it's highly likely that this email was sent to a whole bunch of people in one shot, meaning the blind carbon copy line had a whole bunch of email addresses other than Jeannie's. It's called a phishing email. The bad guys are fishing for information. In this case, they're actually trying to get Jeannie's current email password for her Comcast account. They know she has a Comcast account because Jeannie's address is such name at Comcast.net. Pretty sure it's Comcast.net rather than Comcast.com. But anyway, that is enough right there for you to recognize this is a scam email. Totally not legitimate. In the deep dive for this email in a separate video, I'll deconstruct that more and show how that works. But that's enough for now. So Jeannie, good job on detecting or suspecting that this is a scam. Yes, indeed it is. Lots of scam emails come through and they're very different designs. I've seen some that are very, very legitimate looking. Now, once the bad guys get hold of Jeannie's password or somebody else that falls for the scam, what the bad guys will do then is they'll actually log in to the email account. And the first thing they're likely going to do is grab all the email addresses that are in that account, that person has sent emails to, received emails from, and in their contacts list. And then they will add those email addresses to their next attack. Another thing that some of the scammers will do is they will start reading the emails that are in that account and try to determine some relationships that exist. And then they might actually target scam emails, sending an email to a relative of the person claiming that they need some money or they need a gift card to help get out of they're stuck somewhere in a small town or something, and they'll try all kinds of crazy scams to get money out of people who are not alert to that possibility. So it used to be said, and I saw it on news media and in newspapers, they said, don't open an email from somebody that you don't know. Well, that is no longer the case, because you can receive scam emails from people that you do know with their correct, legitimate address, because their account has been hacked using this type of a technique. What I do on my YouTube channel is provide free support to people to help with computer issues, whether a computer's not working right or they need help with fixing something or learning how to use a certain feature. And I do that through Zoom, phone calls, and connecting remote to your computer. So if you're seeing this video, that means you are qualified to request such a session. And the way you request a session is to send an email to me, DougBetts@LiveWindowsTraining.com. The YouTube channel is LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts. If you're seeing this video, you should be able to click on the channel icon, that little round icon down lower, and go see other videos that I've done. Any of the thumbnails that have me with another person are those types of videos where we're using a Zoom session and YouTube session to provide free support. Now, the way that I can do free support is that once my channel grows large enough, YouTube will actually pay me for having created the content. And that revenue comes from advertisers, of course. So I think that's about all I need to say for now. I hope this video has been useful to you. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.